Hey guys, my name's Tony Pavone and this is a presentation for my forensic psychology class. This video is to inform you all on child custody and specifically what happens after child abuse has been reported. So to start off, many people often don't know what a child abuse victim looks like. They can try to visualize someone who is broken or has in some way caused harm to themselves or other, either through drugs or even has continued the abuse cycle they have received from their parents. Well, unfortunately, that is just a stereotype. I'm here in front of you all as one such child abuse victim. I am a senior in college and am in full control of my life. Granted, I've had some issues throughout my childhood, but if it weren't for the love and support that I've received from both family and friends, I wouldn't be who or where I am today. I am one of few, others, though, are not so lucky. This is why there's certain steps and processes in the legal system in order to avoid further damage to the child and to the rest of the family. As stated before, this presentation is primarily on child custody after child abuse has been reported. First off, we need to define what child abuse actually is. For this, I will cite New Jersey law since this is where I was born and currently reside. This law can be found under Title IX, Children, Juvenile, and Domestic Relations Court. Most important is Title IX, Section 6-8.9, Abused Child, Child Abuse Defined. Now, I'll be reading this off of NewJersey.gov in order to say it in its entirety. For purposes of this act, abused child means a child under the age of 18 years whose parent, guardian, or other person having his custody and control, A, inflicts or allows to be inflicted upon such child physical injury by other than accidental means which causes or creates a substantial risk of death or serious or protracted disfigurement or protracted impairment of physical or emotional health, or protracted loss or impairment of the function of any bodily organ. B. Creates or allows to be created a substantial or ongoing risk of physical injury to such child by other than accidental means, which would likely to cause death or serious or protracted disfigurement or protracted loss or impairment of the function of any bodily organs. Now, this is only half of what the definition is, but I found this to be the most significant and personal to me. Now that child abuse has been defined, how does it factor into the court hearings pertaining to custody? Like I said, there are several steps in order to go through before the case is to be heard in front of a judge. The first step is to have a formal complaint or to have an allegation of abuse made against a parent or a guardian. Once an allegation has been made, an investigation has to take place in order to determine if there is any basis to that allegation. These investigations are often performed by psychologists who work for the state or private agencies, a parent making allegations or the one actually being accused, or the court itself. Now, specifically in New Jersey, the Division of Family Health, the Division of Family and Youth Services, or DIFUS, is often used in order to lead these investigations. Determining child custody actually used to be easy. Under English law, the legal doctrine of paterfamilias actually entitled the fathers of these children full custody, totally disregarding the mother, since women were not allowed to quote unquote own property. Custody agreements have come a long way since then. They now aim to serve in the best interests of the child, which is abbreviated to BICS. Under BICS, or BICS, the needs of the parents are second to what is considered best for the child. It's meant to place the child in an environment that will actually help them to grow and not suffer any further abuse or neglect if they have experienced any. Before BICS, there was the tender years doctrine, which was the standard for determining who would have custody of the child. Children under a certain age and all female children would automatically go to the mother. This was seen to be the most favorable environment because the mothers were thought to end up being more nurturing than a father would. Many fathers, however, didn't like this idea, so they claimed that it violated the 14th Amendment and denied them equal rights. So eventually, the tender years doctrine was tossed aside. Often, the BICS is a little vague. The judge may not know at what age to ask a child who they prefer to live with, and in most cases, judges will grant custody to the mothers 65% of the time. Mothers would often receive sole custody, which is preferred, especially if there is or has been evidence of abuse. But if there wasn't any evidence, then why such a high percentage? That question, however, is left up to the courts. Oftentimes, before the proceedings themselves, treatment plans are made in order to eliminate the abuse, sometimes through mediation with the parents and any mediators. Um, and some of these plans may include removing the child from the parent or parents, removing the parent themselves, any supervised visitations, discontinuing any visitation that a parent or both parents may have, custody changes, and family reunification. Now, this last one I recognized from a family law class that I actually took, and I remember that even to this day, the goal of any family law case is to have the family eventually be brought back together. Some states have opted out of that idea, but New Jersey is still one of them. Overall, the process does take some time from the initial allegation to the granting of custody. If abuse was found, then that leads to other proceedings set aside from the child custody case. The allegation will then lead to investigations which may or may not provide basis for the allegations. Whether or not evidence of abuse is found, the case will then proceed to court and eventually be heard in front of a judge. The judge then has to decide, based on that evidence from both parents, where the child should be placed. After testimony and deliberation, the judge will award custody, whether it be sole custody, joint custody, or if one of the parents will have visitation rights. In my case, my dad was granted full custody, and eventually, when he remarried, my stepmother, who I fully recognize as my mother, was also granted full custody. Abuse was found in my case, and the division and DYFS helped to bring the case forward. My dad, however, didn't pursue any charges of abusing against my biological mother, but full custody was still awarded to him because of evidence of her being an unfit parent. In some cases, testimony from the child helps to persuade the judge, but it is not required. The attorneys in my dad's case for custody wanted to have me testify, but I was still too young. So, in conclusion, I found this to be a topic that I'm extremely close to and felt that more people needed to understand. This process can be a long and winding road, but it will ultimately decide where the best place for a child is. So if anybody has any questions from this video, please comment down below, and also feel free to check out the child custody and child abuse laws on newjersey.gov if you feel as if you want to look into these particular laws some more. All right, thank you, and bye for now.